what's going on, everyone? Sid Gordon here with Core Medical Group. And as always, we're very excited today to have Cody Alford with us. He's been a very loyal man across the board with Core Medical Group, amongst other things. And I'm super excited to have him on today. Cody, thanks for coming aboard.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. So, Cody, I have a question for you. I've been dying to ask all day. I've been thinking about it since last night. We're not going to really talk too much about Cody's story. If you guys want to hear that, you can tune into the Real Ones podcast coming up here soon, or Sean Ryan's. He gets pretty intimate on that one as well. It was amazing. One of the best podcasts I've ever heard. And from what I hear, the one that you're on with John was one of his top as well. So can you tell us a little bit about, before I ask my question, about your interaction with Core, kind of why you support us, just to kind of qualify the relationship across the board?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a no-brainer to me. Core Medical has changed my life. I first teamed up with Core Medical as a patient almost a little bit over 5 years ago now. And that interaction, I was basically leaving a bad relationship with the military, especially the VA system. It was like none of my hormones or testosterone was ever looked at when I checked into the VA. I was introduced to Core Medical from a mutual friend, Rocco. He's like, "Hey, dude, these people are amazing. Give it a shot." I'm like, "Okay, well, I've heard that before, and everything else has been history." My first interaction with you guys was getting my blood work done and actually having an intimate conversation with a specialist who didn't just tell me I had low testosterone, but told me a lot of other important information that changed the trajectory of my life, being my kidney function. And that information alone kind of blew my mind away, plus the in-depth aspect of just my hormone protocol. I realized that the protocol I was getting from the government, the protocol I was getting from the VA it was subpar. It was just one aspect of the full spectrum that I needed to not only function properly, but be healthy. And like I said, the rest of that has been absolute history. So I'm a loyal customer because y'all changed my life and you take care of people. And I was just telling my wife this morning, like telling her like we're getting ready for this podcast, and we did the military appreciation event in September at your place in South Carolina. And I told her I was so glad that I got to go because I finally got to meet the names and the faces to all these people I've been talking to for all these years now. And heck, Sydney, I told you this right off the bat, like you're one of the top 2 companies I would work for. And I do not want to work for a company, but just how you treat your people and how your people treat their customers and the patients, like it's absolutely game changing. I take customer service very seriously. I'm a human. There's a lot of people out there that just want our money. They don't really care about how we feel. And I can show you limitless text threads, especially with Brandon and David, about like me asking questions and trying to get more information and just constantly being filled with what I need because they care about me just as much as I care about myself. And that's why I'm a loyal customer to Core Medical.
Well, you've been super helpful as well across the board. I mean, you've brought awareness to the HRT world to a lot of people, probably hundreds at this point. You've actually brought awareness to Core Medical's brand and family, which has been just instrumental. The patients that come aboard, which is why, I say this all the time. I mean, to be in the military community and have the military strategic partners like I have with you and Jason and Rocco and Nick is just, and Byron is just like mind blowing to me. Like I'm so humbled and honored to have you guys aboard. And it just makes things so much easier because you guys are looked at in such high regard inside the military community that especially, your patients, they come aboard and they're just like, dude, I don't need to know anymore. Cody's already spoken to me. He told me I had to do this. When I see that, it takes a long time. It took me 10 years, 15 years for people to really notice that, I'm a great referral source. If you need something in Boca Raton, Florida, call me. I can help you out, and you're going to get treated properly and I have a great circle. the beauty of your relationship inside the military community is that you are so well respected that these guys come aboard and, you know, they don't second guess anything. And that's a real hard thing to do, because to hold that whole credibility while being in the military and then transitioning to a civilian and making and staying above board is a difficult thing. Cody, can you tell us a little bit about like the trials and tribulations you might have had and like how you overcame them, transitioning from like the military into the civilian life?
Man, it's a very big question, and a good question. Uh, Probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. You know, I was institutionalized by choice. You know, I loved my job. That was everything that I ever wanted to be. And when it came to an end, due to medical reasons, I didn't know who I was. My whole identity was wrapped up into that job. My sacrifices were wrapped up in that job. My family was that job, and on the outside world, I had a family. I had all these other things that I just never really meshed with well, because I always put the mission first, the job first. Even though I thought I did it at times, when I look back, I'm like, I absolutely did. So transitioning out of the military was hard. My identity crisis was very big. It's all I knew. I was my job. So I had to go on this journey to figure out who Cody Alford is, and you know, what do I believe in, and what do I stand for, and what am I here for? And that alone has by far been the hardest thing I've ever done. And transitioning out, for a lot of service members, I feel like most men and women don't give themselves a chance to take a pause, even if it's like a few weeks or a month or a couple months, to like actually like
Or a couple
ask
of years.
themselves, what do I? Yeah, I took a couple of years. You know, I
Yeah.
took 3 years, 3.5 years. You know, getting out, my wife and I, you know, I was doing brain treatment down in Florida, and she's like, I knew my retirement was coming up. She's like, hey, if you only have like 4 weeks left to live, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, just travel around, take pictures. It was like the first thing that came into my head. It wasn't like something I was always dreaming about, but I was like, you know, I'm gonna trust this intuition thing. And so we sold all of our stuff and we moved into a conversion van, and that was our home for 3.5 years, and had no plan, wasn't designed to hit every state in the United States. It was designed to give me a space to heal and define myself with no responsibility, no external thing, no stressors in my life. My whole focus in life at that point was to de-stress my life. Stress alone was killing me, and I needed to do everything I could in my power to de-stress my life. And that van saved my life 100%. And
And you
you know,
teach
if I
that
never
now,
gave myself,
right, Cody?
go ahead.
You kind of teach that disconnect in your coaching group, and the guys that you mentor coming out. You kind of you tell your story. You've learned the humility that's so important that we just, a lot of people just don't want to dive into. You know, that's a big thing there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when your norm and your operating norm is a high state of stress, or you're constantly in a fight or flight mode, you know, when you get out and you go right into that environment again, there's really no different shift in your life. Most people don't understand like what like decompressing and de-stressing is actually is. I mean, even the military butchers that, you know, every coming from the special operations community, when we come back from deployments, we do this thing called home location decompression, HLD. And basically all that means is we come home, we talk to like the series of specialists from our unit, like from a chaplain to a physical therapist to a psychiatrist to our administrative pay people, like physical therapy, everybody. And you're supposed to get a few days off and kind of just like reconnect to your family and to acclimatize back being back home. And you know, that's not real. You know, that's, you're leaving one battlefield and you're coming right back to another battlefield, because 9 times out of 10 you left a battlefield at home to go to another one. You didn't leave a good standing secure location to go to harm's way. You left harm's way to go to another's harm's way, because what we do in the military is we just leave a destructive path, and not by choice, not out of malicious intent. It's just you're never taught to be who you are. You're never taught to identify as self and to invest into yourself. You're always told it's about the men, the mission, and then you. And so one thing I'm really huge on is like just giving people that space, like, yo, take 5 days off and do nothing. Disconnect from your phone. Do you have paid time off? Good, take it and go somewhere completely different. Go to nature. Nature is like where you will find all the healing at. You know, connect yourself, kick your shoes off, do these healthy things that, you know, we all, at least for me, we used to laugh at. because I was so consumed in a linear mindset. And looking back at my life, like I am everything I am today because I did all those defying of the norms, my norms back in the day, because that wasn't leading me to a place I wanted to be. Once my career ended, I had to figure out, okay, what am I going to do now? I can either be a statistic, become a victim, or I can go on this path called the unknown and figure it out as I go. And through that process, by giving myself that space, I had time to actually listen to the thoughts in my mind, to take opportunities that I might not would have had, like going to retreats or to events where I could network and connect with people, or find some healing in some aspect, and just let go of the modern world, which I felt so called to just to be part of. And all that was doing was just draining everything that I had left in me, and it wasn't much.
I mean, even for a civilian, I mean, I run pretty high stress, high energy. Cody, you've been with me before. You've seen
Yes.
you've seen us move down here, and I didn't realize this until I met you. That like, so I know that being in the woods, everyone knows I'm a big hunter, and until I was like talking to you, I didn't realize like, wow, when I go into the woods, that's like such huge decompression for me. I've come up with my best business ideas sitting in a tree stand or spot and stalking and just sitting there in patience, and not I don't think about my phone when I'm there. I think about my phone every 30 seconds when I'm in civilization like this. It doesn't leave my hip. And when I'm out there, it's a totally different scenario. And, when you're in the woods, for me in the beginning, it was all about like, I want to kill a deer. Now it's like, I want to be at peace. I want to make this as strategic as possible. I want to really enjoy this opportunity that I have. And from that, I have this, like, I'm sure you've felt it before, this overwhelming feeling in my body of just like such peace. Like I get so much peace from it. And, it just doesn't have to be in the woods. It could be anywhere, but just getting in peace for me, getting in a quiet place it's really helped me develop as a businessman, as a dad, as a friend. And, everybody that I meet that wants to learn how to hunt. I mean, I have like 7 dudes that I've taught how to shoot a bow in the last like 7 months that I now have to take hunting this year. But like, I do that because I want them to experience that like decompression and that peace. And I didn't realize I was doing that until I was talking with you. And, it's a great thing to kind of promote, I think. And I've learned so much sitting in the woods. It's just been amazing. So I've had a lot of different interactions with people that you've brought aboard, and they're all like amazing. They all think the world of you. And you have this way about you that is like the Mel Chancey way, where people are just so attracted to you, right? It was amazing. We're in San Diego, and there was like SEALs showing up to meet you at this place, and you just took your time with them and made sure that they were in a good spot. And those are all things that are not money driven. They're just like, oh my God, I've been there before. I want to make sure that you're good. And I just wanted to tell the audience that those things we can really learn from others that are doing things that are such selfless acts. Those selfless acts that like you teach across the board. I think that you always say, I love to be at service to people, like to help people. That just didn't come from your transition from the military to the civilian world. That came from you working on yourself. Is that pretty accurate?
For sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, it definitely, a lot of it came from the military world. I prided myself that in the military is really empowering people and looking at the military is full of untapped potential. Unfortunately, in the military, anytime there's a hierarchy, it's like if you're either the leader, or you're not the leader. Well, when I always had the opportunity to be part of a team or something like that, I found the leaders, and they weren't always the people that were in charge. They were people that were just needing to be inspired to take charge. And most people don't realize how powerful they are because they never get the opportunity to do so. And I've been very fortunate through my military career where I was constantly fast promoting. I was constantly in a leadership position. Plus, most importantly, I had a bunch of amazing leaders, plus a bunch of amazingly horrible leaders that I got to learn from and be mentored by. So I got to see both sides of the spectrum. So then when I was in the chance to lead, I made sure I brought others up with me. It's all about empowering and transitioning out. that's probably the only thing that I had in me. Like, I didn't know who I was, what I wanted to be, what I wanted to do, but one thing was definitely constant and certain. I loved helping people, and I attracted a lot of people because I used social media to really share my heart and expose myself, like what I was going through and the struggles and the tribulations I was facing. And that just connected to so many people, because so many people out there are hurting in a multitude of ways, and not everything is depression or suicide. It's just like, man, I don't know what I want to do with my life, or I'm just not happy in my current job or my current relationship. And most people don't have these conversations with their quote unquote friends, because they haven't realized that if you can't have conversations with those people, they're really not your friends. Most people haven't realized what a circle actually is. And I know I didn't either. Um, and so, but serving people and helping people see their own power, that's what I did in my darkest days, and some of my brightest days. This is what I'm still doing today. So that's when I've like move all the BS in my life. Like, what am I going to do with my life? There's always that one constant. It's helping people find their way.
So when someone comes to you for coaching or part of your group, like what should they expect? Like what's that process like?
So they definitely should expect to get triggered. I have never met someone who changed their life by not getting triggered. Getting triggered is a healthy thing. And so what I do best is trigger you, and I trigger you out of love. And so if you come to work with me in my coaching group, Defy Tribe, I mainly market towards military and first responders, because those are the men and women that are going to change communities. They're the men and women who are serving the communities, or serving the country. They're going to change the United States of America towards a greater good. World War II veterans, I mean, God, those guys and gals like made everything happen for America. That was like when we were booming. And now we have victimized ourselves so much, and they're just accepting the jobs they're doing. They're not really happy in the direction of life they're going. And I'm just like, wait a second, bro. Like, if you're a veteran and a first responder, you're inherently an entrepreneur. There's something in your job, in your life, where you're like, man, I don't want to shine my boots today. How much are you charging? And you're like, wait a second, I'm going to charge you $5 to shine your boots. Like, we're always hustling. We're always making things happen. We're always meeting these crazy timelines, doing these crazy on-demand tasks. And so I'm like, wait a second, that's how I feel. I can't be the only one. So my Defy Tribe coaching group is, I show you how to become an entrepreneur, or take your entrepreneur business and help you take it to new heights. Plus, I help you with your personal and professional development. We always need to be growing. The moment we stop growing is the moment we just give up on our future. And so what you can expect from like work with me in my group coaching group is, one, to be challenged to go further, go faster. Two, look at yourself in the mirror and hold yourself accountable. I mean, everybody wants to make more money, have better relationships, have more sex, get jacked, just have this amazing, perfect life. But none of that exists without you. And so I don't just show them how to take this desire they have to do something different, or even when it comes to like hormone therapy, I'm like, I can show you how to make enough money just to pay for your wellness, right? It's important to help them become better people along the way. And I just keep on growing, and I keep on meeting amazing people in my life, like to include yourself, who you mentor me. And I have all these other great, amazing mentors, and I'm always constantly learning. And, it's a disservice to not share that with people. So the full spectrum of working with me is you're going to grow as a person. You're going to grow in ways to bring your family with you, which is the most important aspect. And when you work with me on a one-on-one aspect of one-on-one coaching, we dive deep into really whatever you're calling obstacles or hurdles in your life. As a leader in the military, I realized that, I'm great at solving problems. And what I'm really good at is not being the guy with all the answers. I'm really good with the questions. I'm a why guy. I want to know why you feel a certain way. I want to know why this is the best mission or the best route to take, because I need to make a real educated decision that lives are on the line. Well, in the civilian world, lives are on the line every day. Our livelihood is on the line. If we don't feel good about ourselves, we're going to slowly die. And if we slowly die, guess what? We're going to make some really stupid decisions in our life. We're going to give up on our dreams. We're going to sacrifice our family. We're going to give up on ourselves. And so it's my job and my goal to help people rewrite their own blueprint of like what they want for themselves, and to find out what truly makes them tick and help them go create that life. Because most people, they know what they need. They know what they really want. They just don't know how to get there. And I help them find the blueprint. Yeah, the plan is very important. And 9 times out of 10, when working with people, they already have all the pieces they need. What they need, that 10th piece, It's just the map. And so I help them line it all out and show them what it looks like to take them from where they're at today to where they want to go. And that's powerful. And it's working with people, the right people that actually want to invest themselves. It's probably the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. This is why you talked about that SEAL that I met. We met at that gym. I talked to him for like an hour randomly.
I know, I was waiting downstairs.
Yeah, you were waiting downstairs.
I didn't care.
But he wanted to actually, like, he wanted to help himself. You know, not everybody wants to help themselves. Some people say they want to get better, they want to change, they want to get jacked, they want to get healthy, but they're not really about that life. And, you know, I'm not here to work with everyone or to save everyone. That's not my role. My role is to take those people who want to grow, want to succeed, and want to become the best version of themselves. I'm here to help them accomplish that mission, but you have to want it yourself. And being someone who has went from the rock bottom of my possible life that I could ever imagine to struggling to find that version of me that wants to change my life and to go through all those phases of life. Like, I know it's not easy, but I know it's definitely doable. And that's, you know, all the hardships of my life are an absolute blessing because it gives me ammunition to be like, bro, I know what you're talking about. I've been there. It doesn't really matter. Go ahead.
No, go.
No, I was just saying, like, you know, people talk about like trauma in a multitude of ways, you know, good trauma, bad trauma, scary trauma, war trauma. But, you know, to me, it's like breaking your arm. It doesn't matter how you broke your arm. The fact is you broke your arm and that's uncomfortable. And that's how we're connected. So our traumas and our hardships and our obstacles can be different. They can look different. But the fact is we're facing adversity and that's what binds us together. And if we can acknowledge that, man, we can go crush and accomplish anything. But the moment we think that's only on us, we're the only ones ever going through this, no one knows and understands us, that's the victim mindset. And that's what keeps you like slave to your mind and like not going anywhere.
So that, you know, you were talking about having mentors help you mentor. You know, I have two mentors that mentor me, and then I help mentor others. And I think that downline is just like, it's so important to be able to pass that on. And I talk about this all the time. Like for me, people have sometimes a problem approaching me or whatever and ask me for help. And I encourage people, hey, listen, the only thing you're doing is probably getting some good answers and, you know, making me feel good about myself. So when you have the opportunity to get an answer, I think really going after that is really important. Like, we work with a lot of people that work with your coaching group. I haven't found one that hasn't changed dramatically through your process, and I stay in contact with a few of them, and it's amazing. But like that whole picture that you have, you know, working with Cody. I'm not trying to sell anything. Is I know his story pretty well. I know a lot that he's been through, and you know, you have that okay, this guy's really seen a lot of horrible things. He's really achieved a lot of amazing things. And he also has a lot of amazing people still in his life that he's asking questions to. And like, that's the type of person that you really want to be surrounded by, because if he doesn't have the answers, he'll be able to get them. And that whole downline, that whole community and that circle, like the one that I have, is like so important to me, right? Because it's just that sigh of relief you get that if God, something's going wrong, you have the right person to contact. And those are all things that we really need in life. You know, as men, I thought I had amazing friends before, and most of the people that I was friends with in high school I don't even talk to anymore. And now this new community of people that are businessmen or veterans and police officers and firefighters that are just, they're amazing. And there's a lot of humility in the relationship, and there's a lot of love in the relationship. Like when I was growing up, Cody, like I never told my boy, I love you, man. Like if you need anything, hit me up. And like, those are things that I tell my friends now. And like my daughter's like, that's kind of weird, Dad. I'm like, no, dude, I like love that guy. So the question that I was going to ask earlier, I wanted to get into some stuff quickly before I did. So I've referred like a lot of people to John Bernthal to the podcast, and I've never asked this question. Tell me what your experience was in San Diego for that trip. I mean, we had an amazing trip together, and then tell me what your experience was like being on that podcast with him.
Man, well, for starters, like you said, that that gang conference was epic. Minus that thought I was a gang member, minus that
Yeah.
aspect,
Yeah, that was a good one.
it was
He had
that
like
was
like undercover duty guys. He's like he went for a run in the morning that was doing like burpees in the parking lot, like was like getting surrounded. I'm gonna tell the story real quick. And the guy in charge of the street cop training gets in charge of the gang conference gets a call like, "Hey man, there's this guy in the parking lot with tattoos on his face. Should we approach?" And the guy's like, "Do not approach. It will be bad. Do not approach." They're telling me the story. I was dying laughing. They're like, "That's Cody Alford." He's like, "Well, what does he look like?" And he's like, "Well, fucking Google him." You know what I mean? And it was funny as shit. So, yeah, that was hilarious. But yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, no, that was a really great audience. Those men and women were all about being better. And it's always great to be around a crowd. It's always sad to be around people who leave their home, leave their job to go to an event to learn and be exposed to new ways, and they just have these like mute faces, mute looks in their face. They're not interactive. They're just kind of checked out. It's like another check in the box for them. That's like the saddest thing to see. And the experience we had in San Diego, speaking to all those undercover gang units, was not that by any means. These people were like the real McCoys. They were so down just to be present and to like learn from the speakers over there. And I was very honored to be able to speak on behalf of Core Medical and really talk about how and why I got into my hormone replacement journey and like what that meant for me. And really most importantly, right, like it's a no-brainer. If you're not getting your blood checked, if you're doing yourself a disservice. And that's really all I care about when I speak about hormone therapy. I just want you to get your blood checked. I mean, guys and girls, I didn't realize I had kidney issues until I got my blood done. All my other complaints when I was in the military and the VA, I'm like, man, I have low libido, if any. I have erectile dysfunction. Constantly have brain fog. I have no energy. I'm constantly tired. I'm constantly like teeter-tottering depression. All they looked at was like my testosterone, and I was doing like similar blood works. And so, anyways, that's why
Well,
it's very
it's the blood
powerful.
work and then that telehealth visit. I mean, a lot of times I'll see blood work come back from the VA and they're like, "Oh, can we use this?" I'm like, "Well, send it over." 10 out of 10 times, it's just not enough. I mean, and it's enough, but it's really not enough. As we get older, it's not enough. Like it's better than a CBC, comp metabolic panel that your GP does, but it's not like in depth. And then the other side of it too is like, it's weird. If you're like a little high on range for like kidney function, liver function, they don't care. But if you're at the low level of range on testosterone, they don't care either. So it's like, it's really weird. They're like, there's like no happy median. And it's important to understand like that blood work is important, that telehealth is important, because if you're off like a minute amount, we're going to work on getting you back on as close to perfect as possible.
Well, yeah, and with Core Medical, your telehealth visit is with a specialist, not a general practitioner. And I think most people get that. Oh, I have my family doctor I go to. I have my VA care I go to. He or she is really great, and that's awesome. But general practitioners know general medicine, and they go off a range of stuff. They're not a specialist. I would never go to a general oil place to get my Ferrari oil change. I would go to a specialist that specializes in exotic cars. Why would I not do that, right? And I treat my body now more than any time ever in my life like a Ferrari, because it's what's going to take me to new places. And I don't have time for general practitioners where I'm going. So I need specialists in my fitness, my mobility, my medical, my wellness, all these aspects of life. And I think that's where most people miss the mark at. And they're told like, hey, you're in the normal range. You could be in a normal range and still be absolutely draining yourself constantly. And anyways, that's why I love working with specialists, and that's why I love Core Medical, because you just take all this big range out of it and you go straight to the nitty gritty of like, let's get you feeling as best as possible. So that whole event in San Diego was super epic, and we got to share that message with these people. I mean, heck, we had people getting up after I spoke. Actually, I think the one guy got up while I was speaking to go sign up with Core Medical to get his blood started, and he didn't even care. He was about it. He got tired of feeling like crap. Yeah. And that's one thing I was really glad I got to share with people, was like, not the fact that I did blood work, not the fact that I had this amazing company I get to work with, Core Medical, but like the pressure of trying to be perfect all the time, the pressure of being alpha and savage, and being too scared to be like, man, I don't feel good, or like I'm not probably feeling my best, and having no one in your circle to talk to. I think that's what keeps most people from seeking help. Is one, they don't think it's for them. Two, they don't really think it's that bad. And three, there's always that like money aspect of like, oh, I don't know if I can afford that. But when you step back at all the fast food you eat, your subscriptions you pay for on TV, like the coffee every day, like you realize that, wait a second, you can fill yourself with processed distractions, or you can invest that money into your health and wellness and feel absolutely better. And when you start to feel better about yourself, you are inherently going to make more money, make more impact. You're going to spend more time with your family. You're going to start seeing and thinking clearer. So instead of you being a couch potato, you're probably going to want to take your kid outside and go play, because you realize it's a beautiful day, and that one day you're going to not have that opportunity, and you're going to start taking more advantage of yourself. So being able to convey that message to that audience was super powerful. And then following that, I was introduced to John Bernthal, uh, and I was like blown away. I mean, he had like all those people around him, and like, I always heard the stories of John, like how he dresses with like his like combat boots and like, this guy, man, this movie star, but this dude who's like every movie I've ever seen him in, I'm just like, wow, he's very good with like portraying emotions and this real authenticity like aspect of him. And so like getting to meet him in person, and he was just focused on me. He was just focused on being present. He wasn't on his phone. He was just a dude. He was a dude that was freaking awesome. And so getting to like sit down with him, and once again seeing his crew, they were all super awesome people. They seemed to like him, and he had a good crowd. I'm just like, man, that speaks volumes about people. Like, we can all have friends or people that work with us or for us, but it doesn't mean they're truly happy or they're appreciated. And all these people seemed absolutely like, one, they were valued, and that's the most important thing. And I remember telling John on our podcast, I'm like, dude, I get why you're such a good actor, because like I was just saying certain things, and he just started to get so emotional. I'm like, dude, you're gonna make me cry.
Yeah,
Like, you're
dude, he's
getting,
got that effect on everybody. It's crazy.
yeah, I'm just like, you're just so authentic and real, and just his whole purpose of why he wanted to start the Real Ones podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's powerful enough as it is, and just hearing his stories and how it's come up, but really like how his commitment is to acting. Because I think there's like this big misconception, like all actors and movie stars are like these amazing people, and I don't think that's an accurate statement. I don't think half of them take their roles like we as viewers kind of see them as. And kind of hearing John's point of view of like, how he's like really good at like this like impromptu aspect, and like how most people are just only script based performers, and he's like, I can do it with the script or without the script. And I'm like, yeah, dog, that's how I roll.
Yeah.
I don't need a script. I work best with
He
no
lives his whole
script.
life unscripted, let me tell you right now.
Yeah, I could definitely tell in the limited interactions that I've had. But yeah, that podcast experience was really cool. I mean, one, it was just like, when you're around someone who is doing more than you, who's been around more than you, who's been around exposed to more things than you have in different aspects of your life, you cannot not level up. You cannot not be afforded the opportunity to hold yourself and conduct yourself differently. I mean, I feel that with you. I felt that with two both successful entrepreneurs. Uh, John, like, dude's extremely successful, and I'm just like, okay, let me conduct myself different, and let me continue to do what I'm doing, because this man who does not need to be doing what he's doing right now, who does not need to be sharing time with me, and his time is extremely, obviously very valuable, but it's very limited. He's on his, just like all y'all are just, everyone's on tight timelines. I'm like, I can't let this guy down. I can't let this guy bring me into his fold and let him down ever, just like you or any other great men and women that I've met in my life. I can't do that. And so that, not pressure, but that vibe and energy alone is enough just to keep on going too. And to me, that's how we all level up together, right? That's how we're continuously growing, because the only people I have time for in my life are people who are growing, because we're all going to die one day. And it's not about how or when, it's about what we do between now and then. And I can either have these great amazing opportunities to meet these amazing people in my life, or I can, I can do something about it, or I can squander them away and,
Sit on your sofa
completely
all day.
just, yeah, why would I do that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's just, well, what's also amazing is like, the first thing John said to you is like, Cody, I'm so honored to meet you. Right. And I was like,
Yeah, he
dude,
just said that.
it's pretty dope. He like opens up that door and, that's not bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Cause I've seen him meet a lot of people and he doesn't say that, so it's pretty cool. Like, the thing that I really like, the thing I love most about John is he really does focus on that legacy that you were talking about, right? And his legacy is his family, his acting, and like the community of people around him and being effective. Like that's his legacy, and he does a pretty good job balancing all that stuff. And it's hard. Like I've been with him when he's been on schedule before. It's like, wow, dude, that's fucking nuts that you can go about your day like that. And it's amazing to watch that guy go about life. I'm like honored to watch him do that because it's pretty cool. And yeah, man, I was proud of you on there, and there was such great feedback, and I think it's going to be a great show coming up here soon. Before I shut this thing down, because we bang out just an hour on this show here, Cody. What do you think your next chapter looks like? Like if you could. I know it's a question you probably don't want to answer right now because we've talked about it before, but like, are you planning anything big? Is there anything that we can talk about, or is there you just trying to stay on course and be effective and help others?
My main goal right now in life is to I want to spend as much time with my family as I possibly can. I mean, the more I'm trying to seek success in my life, the more I'm realizing that, my wife doesn't really care about that to a certain degree. And then what is success if I don't have my family? I live in one of the most beautiful places that I could possibly imagine. I have everything that I need right here. And so one of my main focuses is to continue to impact the world, impact people, help them grow and level up, but spend as much time as I can home. And something that I'm really looking into is starting my nonprofit and offering retreats where I help veterans or first responders rest, reset, and recalibrate. And you know, it's what's changed my life, and most people don't even know what 5 days of healthy, clean eating, nature, grounding, healthy practices can do for them. And it's my mission to help bring that to them. And one of the coolest part about it is I'll still get to serve people, but I'll get to serve people, near my house, like near where I live. And so I'm going to be able to accomplish my objective of serving the world, serving those who want to help themselves, but at the same time, spending as much time with my family. And that's probably like my next main focus right now in life. Unless John wants to do, someone commented on a post today on social media, a Tango and Cash remake. So unless John wants to team up and hit the big studio, I can still do all my other stuff, but I would definitely, I'll go travel to Hollywood if I have to go film some like Tango and Cash remakes. So John, if you're listening to this, I'm interested.
Okay,
Very
good. Well,
interested.
I'm sure he will hear that, and I'm sure you'll speak with him soon. You can let him know direct. Well, I'll tell you something right now, dude.
Yeah.
Anything that you want to accomplish, there's very few people I say this to, and you will be able to accomplish that. I promise you. I have a very close friend of mine that told me 20 years ago when he met me and saw me starting to work, Sid, if you want a jet, you'll be able to get one. If you want this, you'll be able to get it. But he also reverted back. He's like, do not forget about your family and people that love you, because that's the most important thing. And I think you got that one accomplished there. So, Cody, you're dear to my heart, brother. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for taking the time out of your day, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you.